Let me show you what abuse looks like and why my children are denied a grandma. Here we have one of the last times my mom ever saw my daughter. In this picture, you would see a grandmother giving her grandchild affection, right? Wrong. What you're seeing here is my daughter scrunched up, asking my mom, "No thank you, please don't snuggle with me, no thank you, no thank you," over and over and over until she started crying. And that as a mom, I do not force physical affection onto my child, especially with a stranger. My mom proceeded to tell me that my daughter, the one that's very uncomfortable right there, has to get used to my mom's boundaries and how my mom is, and that she was not going to respect how a 2-year-old felt. And here you will find all of the gifts that my mom had taken my daughter shopping for that day. All $300 worth of gifts on her front lawn because my daughter asked her not to snuggle with her. This is the consequence my daughter had to suffer because she chose not to snuggle with my mom. This is what happens when an abuser doesn't get their way. This is what happens when you set boundaries with a narcissist. They don't care if it's a 2-year-old or a 30-year-old. So it's not a matter of forgiveness, because if you knew anything about forgiveness, you would know it's not for the other person, it's for yourself. It's not just tension in the family and to not allow my children to get involved. You cannot just work out abuse with an abuser, especially if they are now trying to abuse your children and break your children's boundaries. My children are denied an abusive grandmother. It is my job to protect them. It is my job to help them learn what healthy boundaries are. I didn't choose to have an abusive mom. She made her choices. Now she has to live with the consequences of not having her children and her grandchildren in her life. That is not my burden to bear. I highly doubt your comment would be the same if this were an intimate relationship. If it was from a man in our life, you would 100% be telling us to protect ourselves. Just because somebody is a family member does not mean I have to be subject to abuse. And it does not mean my children have to be subject to abuse. We choose peace over chaos, and I will never regret that. So side note, if you're having a hard time setting healthy boundaries with family members and you're trying to learn how to deal with a narcissist in your life, follow me. I'll help you not feel so guilty about it. Happy healing.